friends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass, there's a real blade of grass. Be careful as you pass. Move along, move along. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to bring your head along.
And a good Tuesday morning to you once again. It is the month of September. In fact, it's September the 3rd, 2013. I'll tell you what happened tragically to me about 33 years ago, but that's for later on in the show. However, we kicked this one off, we kicked this off with some discussions about last week. Specifically, okay, first of all, it was Labor Day weekend. We got that. So you had the 3-day weekend. Some of you are still just getting yourselves back to work. Some of us have been to work. It's been fun, more than you'll know. But the facts are these, boys and girls. We had an interesting weekend. Let's first talk about, well, college football kicked off. So that's number one. Number two, with college football kicking off, all eyes were in College Station. Literally, a lot of eyes were in College Station. They were more concerned about one Johnny Manziel than anything else. We'll talk about that extensively here in just a bit. It was also the week of high school football. And with that, also, some elation, excitement, and unfortunately, if you're in Denton and you go to Geyer High School, you're dealing with a tragedy, and that word alone doesn't describe it. We've discussed over the last few weeks, literally, well, hell, since back in April, when I first started doing this show, we've been talking about a lot of tragedies. And specifically, well, let's go back to April. Let's talk about April 15th, because we went on the air on April 16th. Our first show was April 2. And within that, we had the Boston bombing, the tragedy that happened in Boston. And a lot of people died. A couple of weeks back, we talked about how a bunch of teenagers didn't have anything better to do with their day and went after a young man who was in college, who was visiting his girlfriend in Duncan, Oklahoma. And they decided because they were bored that they should go out and shoot and kill him. And now, in Denton, Texas, at Geyer High School, a young 18-year-old football player lost his life outside of Bowie, which is a little bit north and west of Denton. And the investigation continues as to what happened. They are suspecting, these are the police officers and the Texas Rangers, not the baseball guys, the actual law enforcement guys. They're talking about how maybe alcohol was involved. And the thing about this entire tragedy, well, I mean, everything's a senseless act, but, everything goes and turns right toward the argument that has been going on and plaguing this country for so many years. I mean, even since I can remember as a child, there's always been this argument about gun control. I'm not so sure it's about gun control, people. I don't think it's about the actual weapon. I mean, if that's the case, then we should be suing car manufacturers and alcohol distributors and all that, because those are the vehicles that cause the problem, right? You're saying a gun actually causes the problem. You're saying that in some cases, alcohol causes a problem or cars cause a problem. No. The problem is the human aspect of things. You've got to reevaluate the human element. You have to reevaluate where the human element comes from. I mean, seriously, if one person, doesn't matter if they're male or female, picks up a weapon to end an argument, and they use that weapon to do so, it is a last resort, I grant you, and you being those who wish to have gun control probably state that, if he didn't have the gun to begin with, he wouldn't have killed him. Maybe, maybe not. If he didn't kill him with a gun, he might have killed him with a rock. He might have killed him with a knife. You can outlaw everything that is a potential weapon: pipes, crescent wrenches, rocks. The list is bricks. The list is endless. If somebody wants to kill you and they want to use an instrument to do so, they'll do it. I mean, before there were, I hate to tell you this, boys and girls, but before the invention of gunpowder, there was arrows and spears and, blow darts. I'm just saying that a lot of people say that, we want to get into this argument of gun control, and it's not really the control of the gun, it's the control of the human element. And maybe we should take more consideration into the psychology of things than anything else. It's still a senseless death in Denton and at Geyer High School. It's still a tragedy that a human life at 18 has been lost. And those students, those teachers, those administrators, those parents, not just of the victim, but of the friends, they're having to deal with this on a level that they're really probably not prepared for. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to say that the people that or the individuals that were involved, because there was a group of, I understand, kids up in this area just around Bowie, Texas, that were with this young man. And from all indications and from what we've been reading about and what we've been seeing, this happened while he was sitting in a truck. And they haven't said it's a homicide. They haven't said it was an accidental shooting. They haven't called it a suicide. They haven't said anything. All they say is that it's still under investigation. For that, we'll leave it at that. And when the facts come in, and we understand what the facts are, then we'll deal with that. So we're not going to sit here and speculate. We're not going to sit here and spout off our own ideas, because I don't know. All I know is that an 18-year-old lost his life, and he lost it tragically. And there's a lot of kids hurting, and a lot of parents that are hurting. And for what it's worth, our thoughts are with them, and we hope you get over it. Speaking of thoughts being with some people, I have a very good friend, and this whole show's all of a sudden got a downer to it, but I promise I'll bring it up. I promise. It's just one of those days. But a very good. I told him I went to elementary school with this young man. I went to junior high with this young guy. He went on to become an attorney. He's down in Houston, Texas, and he's a very, very good and dear and wonderful friend. His name is Doug Walsdorf. And Doug, for you, my friend, I know the diagnosis that you received is not good. However, we'll fight the fight. And Doug was diagnosed with cancer. And if you live in the San Antonio area, we'll bring this back up. If you live in the San Antonio area, if you've ever been to a Spurs game and there's a young man playing the trumpet before, I say young man, it's my age, the trumpet before the Spurs game, he plays the national anthem, that's my buddy, Doug Walsdorf. He's also in a band that are made up of jurists, meaning that they're either attorneys or judges, maybe both. Anyway, they have a band, and they're kind of like, if you're here in the local area, sort of like Emerald City. great cover bands. They do, and they have a brass section, and it's really fantastic to watch them. But they have a great name. They're called the Court Jesters. So if you ever get a chance down in San Antonio, there's a big fat plug for you, Dougie. Told you I'd take care of you, buddy. Anyway, I don't want this to be a downer of a show, man. That sucks. So let's bring it back up. NCAA football was underway last week. All eyes down in College Station. Everybody's talking about Johnny Manziel. Everybody's talking about how Johnny Manziel was suspended for a half a game. And if I was Ken Sumlin, the head coach at Texas A&M, I would have said, son, we can beat Rice. We don't really need you. They did, by the way. They handily beat Rice. But Rice, for the first half, really gave A&M a run for their money because offensively, Rice was in this game. They still scored 28 points. Grant you, A&M scored 52. Most of them in the second half. However, Johnny Manziel, in his infinite ways, seems to just keep bringing that fire in front of him and bring that spotlight on him. The funny thing about this entire situation is that the NCAA came in and said, okay, we really haven't found anything that you really did wrong. However, obviously you signed autographs, therefore that's a violation of NCAA rules. We'll slap your wrist and you get to sit for a half a game. That's your suspension, a half a game. I have a little problem with the NCAA because right now the NCAA doesn't seem to have any type of credibility. Let me explain. A couple of years ago, a guy named Des Bryant was playing at Oklahoma State University. This is long before he became a Dallas Cowboy. His senior year, somewhere between the summer of his junior year and his senior year, he went and had a dinner with Deion Sanders up in Prosper, Texas. A few miles north of Dallas. Well, a lot of miles north of Dallas. In any case, he had a meal. He had dinner. Deion bought it. Man's got to eat. I've always said that. Man's got to eat, right? So here's the situation. Dez gets suspended for the entire year. He loses his entire senior year. Gone. Johnny Manziel signs autographs. Supposedly receives money, but they can't really... They haven't figured that one out yet. All right. So, he supposedly got money for this. And somewhere along the line, he gets suspended for a half a game. I don't see the justice here. Have a meal, get suspended for a year, sign your name, get money, and get a half of a football game suspension. So the NCAA, in my estimation, and I have good friends that work for the NCAA specific, not just for a conference, but for the NCAA. Somewhere along the line, there's a problem here. And they need to fix it. But if I was Ken Sumlin of the A&M Aggies, the head football coach, I would have said, we can beat this team with one hand tied behind our back. They played Rice. Rice! John F. Kennedy even asked, why does Rice play Texas? He did, by the way. You'd think I'm kidding. He did. I'll find that clip and I'll play it for you. But nonetheless, Texas A&M's playing Rice. They beat Rice, not a problem. But if I'm Sumlin, I would have said, Manziel, sit on the bench. You got a half a game suspension by the NCAA. Texas A&M, the school is going to suspend you the second half. Sit down. Enjoy it. Carry the clipboard. You'll be fine. So the end result of that all was that Manziel comes in the second half. Oh, yeah, Manziel comes in the second half. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. He scores a touchdown. There's a Rice Owl defender that gets in his face, gets in his grill, and Manziel points to the scoreboard. Then somewhere he writes his name in the air, and then he holds up his hands like that international signal for money where you rub your thumb and your fingers together. Yeah. Then the referee threw the flag. Then Sumlin called him over to the sideline. And then Sumlin set him down for the rest of the game. I think there was like 5 minutes left in the game when that happened. Wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Do you think Johnny Manziel, and I'll tell you what, you can respond either on our Facebook page or Twitter. I'll tell you how to, well, if you're looking at our page right now, if you're on our page right now, it shows you how to find us on Facebook and on Twitter. But if you're on the page, you answer this question. Do you think, with all the antics and all the crapola that Manziel has been doing off the field, and in this case on the field, let's say he has another fantastic year. Let's say he outdoes what he did last year. Do you think the guys in New York who hand out that little piece of hardware known as the Heisman Trophy, do you think he wins it again? Do you think we have another repeat winner of the Heisman Trophy? There's only been one. There's only been one in the history of the Heisman Trophy. There's only been one man to repeat as a Heisman Trophy winner. He came out of Ohio State University. His name was Archie Griffin. He won it 2 years in a row. The following year, Earl Campbell won it. And we know the rest of the history. I think Tony Dorsett won it the year after that. Point being, though, boys and girls, do you think that if Johnny Manziel has the season of a lifetime again, I don't know how you can do that twice, but you know what I'm saying. If he outdoes himself from a year ago, does he get the Heisman Trophy, or does the voters, the New York Athletic Club, Downtown Athletic Club in New York, do they say, "Nah, I don't think so, buddy. No, ain't happening." So tell me what you think. Yes or no? Let me know. Let me know. In the meanwhile, we'll let you know that we've got a break coming up because that's what we do best. When we come back, we'll talk a little more about college football. We'll talk about the Dallas Cowboys' upcoming season. We'll even give you an idea about a new show that you can attend and be a part of every Thursday night. All that coming your way right here on the Dave Michaels Sports Show along the North Texas Sports Network. Lone Star. Those two words mean so much to Texans. It's a way of life. It's pride. It means quality. Lone Star State Cigars, they understand all that those words mean. Come by one of their 4 locations, 2 in Allen, 1 in Plano, and 1 up in Richardson. See what pride and quality and way of life means. Lone Star State Cigars. You can find them on the web as well at LoneStarStateCigars.com. Way of life, the pride, and the quality all under one banner. The Lone Star. Lone Star State Cigars. Once you come in, you'll understand, partner. Spring is in the air, and with that comes the age-old tradition of having the backyard barbecues. When you invite friends over, enjoy the ease and the convenience of serving those friends on items from the Pampered Chef. The catalog is chock full of great outdoor serving items that are built to be used by the grill or by the pool. How about when you have to go to others' houses? It would be nice to be able to transport those delicious dishes with ease. The Pampered Chef. Give Shelly and Danny Wiley a call and let them help you put together your very own Pampered Chef party. Call them at 214-808-7402. Find them on the web as well at pamperedchef.biz/Shelly Can Cook. That's Shelly, Shelley, Can Cook. And see how easy it is to be a part of something fun and useful. There's also a way to help with your school or your charity event as well. Give Shelly a call, 214-808-7402, and start finding the chef in you. The Pampered Chef.
The 78th annual AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic is just 12 months away. Be sure to get your tickets to this American classic by going to the website of the AT&T Cotton Bowl, www.attcottonbowl.com, and reserve your seats for next year's game. What a great gift idea for the sports fan in your family. Enjoy the atmosphere of college football in one of the premier stadiums in the country, Cowboys Stadium in Arlington. The 78th AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic next January of 2014. Don't miss it.
Remember when you were in high school? The after-the-game parties, the dances that were held in the school gym? Well, those days are long gone. Just like saddle Oxfords and bobby socks, but the partying, Well, that continues. A reminder that it is still against the law to drink while underage. There's a reason why lawmakers put the legal age to drink at 21. It's to protect you from yourself. It's hard enough that adults drink and drive. Why put yourself in danger? Don't drink and drive. It could save a life. Yours. A message from the Ad Council and Dave Radio Productions.
Right back here on the Dave Michaels Sports Show. Glad you're with us this morning, wherever it is that you're at. A reminder that on Thursday afternoons around 4:15-ish, you can hear me on ESPN Radio 1460 KCLE. That's with my good friends, the Sports Sandbox. You can hear me with Michael Golnick and Ronnie Moore and Chad Dixon as we discuss all sorts of fun things. I'm still trying to figure out, I got asked a couple of weeks ago, do I think kickers ought to get a extended contract? By the way, the answer is no. I know they kick a lot of footballs, and I know they get a lot of points, but no, you don't get an extended contract. We're going to talk about more college football. Texas beats New Mexico State. Whoop-de-doo. North Texas wins. I'll tell you what, the American Athletic Conference, better known as the AAC, which is where SMU is, I think out of all the teams that played last weekend, one is the only one that won. That was the University of Houston. Everybody else lost. SMU loses to Texas Tech at home in front of the largest home crowd on opening night at Ford Stadium, 38,000. Good on you, ponies. Glad that happened. Wish you had won. Just saying. Win one. June Jones got his work cut out. The North Texas winning, that's pretty exciting. And they're in the Conference USA. They kind of came in along with the University of Texas San Antonio and a couple of other teams, moved into the Conference USA, where a couple of Conference USA teams went to that American Athletic Conference, which used to be called the Big East. We all know how that worked. So, any case. Florida State won last night, and that was pretty exciting. Their quarterback is just unbelievable. He made a believer out of me. There's a young man that could be a Heisman Trophy candidate. We'll see how Florida State does, though, because as he goes, Florida State goes. So we'll see how that works out. Some other exciting things happening over the weekend also is high school football. Some people call this an upset. I'm not so sure it's an upset. I think that when you're the number one ranked football team in the state going into the season, you're supposed to win, whether you're on the road or if you're at home. And the Allen Eagles traveled to the friendly confines of South Lake Carroll Dragon Stadium, and they defeated said Dragons handedly. And again, if you're the number one ranked team in the state, I really don't see a problem with you winning that way. And that's exactly what they did. And so the Allen Eagles were victorious. Alvarado beats Highland Park in the Tom Landry Classic, and I owe Ronnie Moore whatever he wants. He doesn't smoke cigars, so maybe a Happy Meal. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But and then there's the game we did Friday night, which was Lake Highlands and Mesquite. Exciting game. One of the very few games that was very, very close. I mean, there was other really close games. I think one game was settled by 1 point. I think that was Richardson, as a matter of fact. I think Richardson settled their game by a point. But Lake Highlands loses by 2 to the Mesquite Skeeters, 16-14. This Friday night, we're at the confines known as Eagle Mustang Stadium. We could see Richardson High School 2 weeks in a row, as we'll pick up Richardson against Frisco Wakeland this week, and then the following week, those Allen Eagles will show up at Richardson to take on the Richardson Eagles. So it'll be the Eagles versus the Eagles. It's just foul. That's all it is. You know what they say, birds of a feather flock together. Yes. Let's see. Any other jokes you guys want to come up with? I'm all for you there. I'm all for you. So just bring it on. But nonetheless, there's a lot of activity going on in high school football. And the rankings have come out. And we'll tell you that for 5A, the rankings pretty much, the 1 and 2 teams are still there. Allen and Katy out of Houston. DeSoto goes from 4 to 3. Euless jumps from 6 to 4. Galena Park North Shore, that's the Mustangs. That's the former school of one Andre Gerard. By the way, Andre is now with the Oakland Raiders. He's on that 53-man roster. Good luck to you, my friend. For those of you that know, Andre and I are good friends. We did a radio show for 3 years while he was with the Dallas Cowboys, and I'll tell you, there's about a new show involving the Dallas Cowboys later in the show. That's a tease. So North Shore's at 5, Houston Lamar's at 6, Cedar Hill 7, Capel moves from 10 to 8. The school that wasn't ranked is now ranked number 9 in the state. Dallas Skyline. They beat the Woodlands in overtime. They might have lost their quarterback. How long, we don't know. And then San Antonio Madison. That's the 5A rankings. The Dallas Morning News puts those rankings out. In Class 4A, Cedar Park is number 1, Aledo number 2. Denton Geyer went from number 1 to number 3. After the tragedy, I don't really see that. I don't see them sitting there for very long. They might regroup. They might dedicate this entire season. And I've seen it before. When schools do that, anything can happen. So Geyer's number 3. San Antonio Northside Brenham is number 4. And number 5 is White House. 6 is Humboldt Summer Creek. Georgetown moves to 7. Wichita Falls Ryder moves to 8, along with Texas City. They're both 8. And Leander was unranked, and they're number 10. They're instant messaging us. It's amazing. I love it. And we have to tell people that we are indeed taking care of internships. So if you want to be an intern with us, all you have to do is contact us, and we'll get you on. So that answers that question. Someone's just asking that on Facebook. Again, if you instant message us, we'll answer back. I promise. Just ask my friends. We have conversations online through the magic of radio. I love it. So that's Class 5A and 4A rankings. And again, we're going to have there's going to be some good matchups this week. Still, this is non-district play. The kids aren't really playing against their schools yet, and that they'll see. And they have seen for the last couple of years, this is the one thing that about redistricting that's very interesting. In the fact that they, you play those schools for 2 years and then you might be, changed to another district. The District 9 5A has been the same district now for the last, I think, 4 to 6 years now. I think the only change was Pierce High School that moved from 4A to 5A. So we'll see. Any interesting games? Yeah, Denton Geyer's got an interesting game. They go up against Colleyville Heritage. This will be on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Wichita Fall Riders will take on Denton Ryan. Grand Prairie will take on Irving. These are all Thursday night games. This will be the 5th. North Dallas takes on Fort Worth Diamond Hill Jarvis. And North Mesquite takes on Sam Houston out of Arlington. Richardson Pierce will be at Garlands-Williams Stadium as they take on Saxe Thursday evening. Now, Friday night, that's a different game. That's a different ball game altogether. Friday night, the schedule will look a little bit like this. And again, we'll be taking care of Richardson and Frisco Wakeland. But in non-district games, Carrollton R.L. Turner will take on Denton. That'll be at the Bronco Field up in Denton. Lake Dallas will be hosting Frisco Centennial. Frisco Centennial last year went to the playoffs. Frisco Centennial's got a strong team. They are a team to watch out for. The Colony and Greenville hook up at the Colony, and some other games to think of. Trophy Club Byron Nelson will be at Frisco ISD Memorial Stadium taking on Frisco and the Raccoons. Just scanning real quick. Frisco Lone Star will be at Whitesboro. Again, that's a brand new school. This is, I think, their first year in varsity play, so we're keeping an eye on them. Garland Neiman Forest will be taking on Plano East. That's at Kimbrough Stadium, one of the better-looking stadiums in the North Texas area. Jesuit will be taking on Keller Fossil Ridge, and that will be out in Keller. So that's going to be a long ride for those young men. Mesquite will take on Arlington Bowie in Arlington, and the Mesquite Hornet will also be on the road at Garland. So those two schools will be taking care of things. We were talking about Frisco Wakeland, but I didn't see their name pop up. Oh, there it is. Frisco Wakeland against Richardson. There it is. Didn't see them listing, so I had to think about that. In any case, when we come back, we'll talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Why? Well, because they have an opening game on Sunday night against the New York Giants. And we'll tell you why this could be an interesting matchup. All that coming your way right here on the Dave Michaels Sports Show along the North Texas Sports Network. Casa, translation, house, home. A new casa, a new home for Mexican food, right along the service road of the President George Bush Turnpike and Jupiter Road. Casa Cha-Cha. All your favorites are there, along with Pollo a la Parrilla, which is their grilled chicken with 3 different sauces to choose from. Their fajitas are tender and juicy. Their enchiladas are just how Mama used to make them. Stop by and say hello to Ruben and Rosa. They will welcome you into their casa and make you feel right at home. Casa Cha-Cha, 190 in Jupiter on the eastbound service road, next door to Renegade Cigars.
Hi, this is Dave Michaels.
And this is Doc Morefield.
Join us for Richardson ISD Sports. We cover all 4 high schools in the RISD.
Catch football, basketball with the Berkner Rams, the Lake Highland Wildcats, the Richardson Eagles, and the Pierce Mustangs. We have it all for you right here on Dave Radio Productions.
All you have to do is log on to davradioproductions.com and click to listen to any game live or archive. So come on, what are you waiting for?
If you missed the game, that's all right. You can go back and listen to any broadcast all year long on davradioproductions.com. The one place to hear it all.
Dave Radio Productions. Our business is to drive business to your business.
Football fans, now you have something to wear that shows off your team spirit. It's not a shirt. It's not your average hat. This is a Spirit hat. It's shaped like a star, but it also doubles as a beverage and food tray. The Spirit Star hat is unique. That not everyone has one, at least not yet, but they are available online at SpiritStarHat.com. That's SpiritStarHat.com. Order yours today so you can have it by game day, and a portion of every purchase is being donated to the Gridiron Heroes Foundation. So wear something cool, help those that forge this great game of football, and cheer on your favorite team, the Spirit Star Hat.
Autumn. The sound of that word conjures up images of leaves changing colors, crisp chill in the evenings, pumpkins, and pigskin. Yep, it's football season once again. And what better way to tailgate than with cooking items from the Pampered Chef? The ease in which you can order and the quality of the products are almost too good to be true. And since it is that time of season when high schools and boosters are looking for ways to raise money, check out Pampered Chef's charity and fundraising. It's much more than just selling wrapping paper or popcorn. Pampered Chef delivers quality products that are used day in and day out for your home. Call Shelley Wiley at 214-808-7402 for more information, or email her at shelleycancook@yahoo.com. Let's bring out the chef in you, the Pampered Chef.
Right back here on the Dave Michaels Sports Show. And this Sunday night, the Cowboys open things up for the 2013 season for real. And it all matters now. You know, before all those preseason games didn't really matter. Now this one counts. This one matters. And they open up against the New York Football Giants. You know, people have asked, why is it always referred to as the Football Giants or the Football Cardinals? Well, because there's other teams named Giants and Cardinals. And you have the St. Louis Cardinals and the Arizona Cardinals. You have the San Francisco Giants and the New York Giants. Back in the day, however, St. Louis had both the baseball and football team under one roof or one area, which was Busch Stadium, and they both played there. And then you had the New York Giants and the baseball New York Giants playing in New York. So that's the reason why they call them the football Giants, as well as the baseball Cardinals, whatever. Nonetheless, Cowboys go open up against the Giants, and at home at AT&T Stadium. The Giants like that stadium. The Giants seem to have the Cowboys' number in that stadium. When that stadium was christened on an opening night for that stadium back in 2009, in 09. 105,000 fans got shoehorned into that stadium because Jerry Jones wanted the largest attendance in a regular season NFL game. And he got it. He also got embarrassed. Rumor had it that Eli Manning of the Giants, the quarterback, autographed the wall inside that stadium's locker room, the visiting locker room. I don't know if that autograph is still there or not. I haven't been in there. Nonetheless, let's talk about this for a minute. Cowboys, I've said, it's on the record. I said they're 8-8. Other people say they're 9-7. Some people aren't so sure. Some say 10-6. I don't see it. I don't see it for a lot of reasons. I don't see it. You know what I do like? I love the fact that they got this young man out of Wisconsin, Fredrickson. He's the center. I like what he has shown in the preseason. We all know the preseason and regular season are not the same. It's not the same speed. Certainly not the same personnel. So now it's all coming down to this. Are you as good as you seem to have been during the preseason? We'll see. That being said, I'm still not too convinced about the front line being as solid as everybody else is saying. I still see some weaknesses. Defensively, Sean Lee signed a nice extension contract. That solidifies that. Jay Ratliff, on the other hand, not too sure about. He's had some issues, and they're now public issues. And he's had issues with the ownership and the management. And now it's become public. And there are some scribes, writers, who have followed the Dallas Cowboys for so many years saying that this could be the end of the road for one Jay Ratliff. I don't know. Can it be mended? I don't know. Cowboys made some trades, nothing really major. Traded one guy for a future 7th round draft pick. They traded a tight end for a future draft pick. Nothing in return. Nothing physical right now. These are all futures. These are hedges. I mean, you're hedging on this. So where do I believe the Dallas Cowboys will? What do I think they'll do on Sunday night against the Giants? This team's no better than 8-8. The Giants, on the other hand, are having their issues. Losing a running back, losing some other star power. So to be honest with you, I don't know where they're going to wind up. Washington, I still think, is the team to beat in the East. My prediction for Sunday night, by the way, I would like to see the Cowboys win. I like to see them. If they do, it's going to be won by, I think, 3 points. If they lose, it'll be by 3 or better. Probably better. And the Philadelphia Eagles are still the wild card. Out of the NFL, out of the NFC, I think the San Francisco 49ers most likely is the team to beat. I think they're the ones that are going to have the target on their back, and I think they're the ones coming out of the NFC West. The dogfight for them will probably be, well, possibly Arizona. St. Louis I'm not worried about. The guys up north, Seattle, that could be a real issue for them. For the Cowboys, though, in the NFC East, Washington still, I think, is the dog to beat in this race. The Giants will be there, the Cowboys and the Eagles. Eagles are still not where I think they should be, though they are the wild card, meaning that they can come up and bite you in the rear end and you didn't even expect it. In the North, Green Bay with all their weapons and all their, Aaron Rodgers and his magic, still looks to be the team to beat. Detroit, you know what? If Stafford stays healthy, this kid could really bring Detroit back from the doldrums. And there's a lot riding on him city-wise, because we all know that Detroit went bankrupt or was filed for bankruptcy. I think the Detroit Lions, and I think if they pull this off, might bring that. It happened with Dallas. We all have short memories about this, but it was 40 years ago, a little more than that now, that the Cowboys helped bring Dallas out of the shadows of what was caused by a lone gunman, or for those of you that are conspiracy nuts, more than one. But the assassination of John F. Kennedy really put a shadow on this town. And if it wasn't for the Dallas Cowboys winning a Super Bowl, if it wasn't for the Dallas Cowboys being such a America team type of branding, and let's face it, there was a TV show called Dallas with Larry Hagman and that crew. If that had never happened, Dallas's stigma might have taken longer to get rid of. But in the way it was, it took less than 10 years, and I give credit where credit is due. I think, a well-coached team in Tom Landry, a well-orchestrated offense by a guy named Roger Staubach, Calvin Hill, Walt Garrison, and all those guys. Defensively, Bob Lilly and George Andre and Jethro Pugh and all those guys really helped bring Dallas forward. Detroit has that same situation. They have that same possibility. And I think Stafford, a young man out of Highland Park High School here in Dallas, can probably do that. And then Minnesota is the other team I'm looking at on the North, and I still like Adrian Peterson. I liked him when I saw him in Palestine High School. I liked him when he was at Oklahoma, though he's playing for Oklahoma. But nonetheless, I like what I see from Adrian Peterson. In the South, New Orleans is still probably the team to beat with Atlanta. That's the dogfight. Those two teams, that should be fun. Atlanta and New Orleans, those two teams, watch them all season long because they're going to be fighting back and forth for that South Division championship. And so I'm looking forward to that. Tampa Bay might be thrown in the mix, but I don't see it. Not with both New Orleans and Atlanta. And Atlanta's got something to prove, because remember, Atlanta played San Francisco for the championship, the NFC championship. They had the lead, and it was the 49ers that came back and won that game. So it'll be an interesting NFC year. AFC we'll probably talk next week, because I really want to see what they do. I really do. I want to see after 1 week what's going to happen. Though out of the AFC, all eyes are on two teams. That's Baltimore and New England. Well, and to mention the New York Jets, but that's only because they have all that turmoil going on up there. Denver, Peyton Manning, you bet, still there. And I don't know about anybody else. I just look at that and I go, I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see what happens after this next week. In the meanwhile, when we come back, we will reveal for you about a new show coming up on Thursday nights that you can attend. And I'll tell you who's going to co-host it with me. You'll be surprised. And I'm looking forward to it, and I'm actually all jacked up about it, because we can talk about a lot more things than you just think about. So think about that for a minute. We'll also tell you about the Rangers, and they lose yesterday to the Oakland A's, and with that loss, they are now tied in the American League West for first place with those dreaded A's. So we'll see what happens today, Game 2 of a 3-game set. We'll tell you all that and a lot more coming your way right here on the Dave Michael Sports Show on the North Texas Sports Network.
Lone Star. Those two words mean so much to Texans. It's a way of life. It's pride. It means quality. Lone Star State Cigars, they understand all that those words mean. Come by one of their 4 locations, 2 in Allen, 1 in Plano, and 1 up in Richardson. See what pride and quality and way of life means. Lone Star State Cigars. You can find them on the web as well at LoneStarStateCigars.com. Way of life, the pride, and the quality all under one banner. The Lone Star. Lone Star State Cigars. Once you come in, you'll understand, partner.
Spring is in the air, and with that comes the age-old tradition of having the backyard barbecues. When you invite friends over, enjoy the ease and the convenience of serving those friends on items from the Pampered Chef. The catalog is chock full of great outdoor serving items that are built to be used by the grill or by the pool. How about when you have to go to others' houses? It would be nice to be able to transport those delicious dishes with ease. The Pampered Chef. Give Shelly and Danny Wiley a call and let them help you put together your very own Pampered Chef party. Call them at 214-808-7402. Find them on the web as well at pamperedchef.biz/Shelly Can Cook. That's Shelly, Shelley, Can Cook. And see how easy it is to be a part of something fun and useful. There's also a way to help with your school or your charity event as well. Give Shelly a call, 214-808-7402, and start finding the chef in you. The Pampered Chef.
The 78th annual AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic is just 12 months away. Be sure to get your tickets to this American classic by going to the website of the AT&T Cotton Bowl, www.attcottonbowl.com, and reserve your seats for next year's game. What a great gift idea for the sports fan in your family. Enjoy the atmosphere of college football in one of the premier stadiums in the country, Cowboys Stadium in Arlington. The 78th AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic next January of 2014. Don't miss it.
Right back here on the Dave Michaels Sports Show. And, God, it's amazing how fast this hour goes. By the way, that doorbell you heard was not my doorbell. I'm just saying. Nobody was at the door. Nobody was here, man. Okay. Real quick, here's a couple of things. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to do this in order. First of all, a couple of reminders. One, on the 21st of September, if you're interested, the Guns N' Hoses boxing tournament will take place at the Allen Event Center. That's going to be on Saturday night, the 21st, 7 p.m. bell time. If you want tickets, please go to their website. That's Guns and Hoses. You got to spell that out. Guns and Hoses, North Tex, TX.org, and look for tickets and get your tickets there. Now, also Guns N' Hoses the month later on the 26th of October at Frisco's FC Dallas. That's the soccer field, if you will, but they also use it for football. The Guns N' Hoses full contact football game. This will be the Pigskin Championship 3 for Guns N' Hoses. Again, tickets are available again through that same website, Guns and Hoses, NorthTex.org. Make sure you pick up your tickets for that. So just quick reminders for that. Also, you can catch all of our action as far as high school football is concerned on our website. Please, by all means, go to it at Dave, D-A-V-R-A-D-I-O, DaveRadioProductions.com. And again, this week we have the Richardson Eagles playing host to the Frisco Wakeland, I want to say. And so we want to remind you of that. Also, now for the fun. I wish I had fanfare. There's your fanfare. Got a new show starting on a week from Thursday. A week from this Thursday. It'll be the 12th of September. It will be live from the Lone Star Grill and Sports Cafe. That's the name of the place. They are located at Plano Road and Arapahoe. Plano Road and Arapahoe. That's in Richardson. Beautiful, fantastic location. Let me tell you, they've got some really neat things. They have darts. They have billiards. They've got poker night. They have karaoke night. They've got Golden Tea. They've got all this plus a great bar, great selection of libations, and a great menu for food. I mean, for bar food, it's pretty good. So I want to remind you of that. But anyway, the host and co-host. Well, I'm co-hosting. I always co-host. That's part of my job. I get to co-host. But the guy who I actually get to bring in, we said it was going to be a Cowboy show, but I didn't tell you it was going to be a current Cowboy. It's actually a former Cowboy. He's no longer playing, but his insight's fantastic. Plus, he's got a Rolodex of phone numbers that we're going to have some fun with, and we'll be bringing in some of the greats from his time, as well as some of the earlier Cowboys as well. But it's Silver Flash and Blue Thunder is the name of the show. It's with Cory Procter. He was 1/4 of the heavy metal band Free Reign, which involved Mark Colombo and Leonard Davis, and he was the drummer for that group. But Cory and we're going to talk about the NFL, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, but more importantly, we're going to talk about life as an NFL ball player and the business side of it, the entertainment side of it, and his insights about how the Cowboys are going. And here's the cool thing about it. When you're a former player, such as Cory Procter or Mark Colombo that we'll be bringing in as a guest, possibly Tony Casillas, Mike Kesselek will probably make an appearance. But when you don't get paid by the NFL and when you don't get paid by the Dallas Cowboys anymore, you can say a lot more than you expect. In short, and Cory and I have had this conversation, if the Cowboys are playing bad, you're not going to get the corporate line of, well, it was a tough team, it was a hard team, it was a tough fought game, da-da-da-da. No. You're going to hear Cowboys sucked, and this is the reason why. So if you are brutally honest about your sports, if you're brutally honest about your Cowboys, if you want to know everything there is to know about what it's like to be an NFL ball player without having to have the sugar coating on it, you need to come to this show. Again, Thursday nights, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're going to be at the Lone Star Cafe, Lone Star Sports Grill and Sports Cafe. That's at Arapahoe and Plano Road. It's actually going to be on the northeast corner of that. We're right behind a barbecue shop, and it's tucked away in the back corner. But you'll see it. Can't miss it. Big place. Lots of parking. And we do accept the fact that you can bring your cameras, bring things to be autographed. We will ask you, though, be very mindful of the people that we are using, and just, one item per person. We're not turning this into a Johnny Manziel situation. So we want to encourage you to come out and be a part of that again, starting on the 12th of September, Thursday nights, every Thursday night after that, at Lone Star, the Lone Star Grill and Sports Cafe is what it's called. So there you go. It's probably more than you really care to know about. But we're going to have fun. And that's the important thing, having fun with this guy. And I'm going to try to bring Cory on probably next Tuesday on the phone. And we'll, unless I can bring him out here, but I don't see that happening. Nonetheless, if I can get him on the phone, we'll have Cory on and we'll talk a little bit about the show and what you can expect from the show. So have all the fun with that. What else we got going on? Wow. I can't think what else did I want to talk about. I think I've run out of things to say. That would be a first for Dave, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Dave running out of things to say. Never. Maybe there were some things I didn't touch on last week. Was anybody really surprised, by the way? And this is just something that just popped in my head. Is anybody really surprised that two things happened? Two people got cut from their teams. One, Tim Tebow got cut by the New England Patriots. Anybody really surprised about that? I don't know. The other one was Vince Young being cut by the Green Bay Packers. I was a little surprised on that. But then listening to the general manager kind of makes a lot of sense. He claims that because he got Young into camp late, that was his fault, and he wasn't able to learn everything there was to know about the playbook. Well, okay, I grant you that. But if you're still the backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers, I think you've got time on your hands, because I don't think anything's going to happen to Aaron Rodgers, not in the least, not in preseason at least, and that would have given you another week or so with the start of the season if you used him for the entire game. Nonetheless, Vince Young is looking for a gig. Tim Tebow's looking for a gig. Rumor has it that Tim Tebow might be looking up north in Canada and at the Canadian Football League. I think that would probably be a good fit for Vince Young as well to hone his skills. It's a bigger field. It's a longer field. The strategy is a little bit, football is football. I get that. But the strategy in Canadian football and strategy in American football aren't always the same. So I would like to see maybe Vince Young going up north and honing his skills. He's still only 30 years of age. I still think he's got a lot left in him. It's hard to believe that in 2015, it'll be the 10-year anniversary of the University of Texas winning their national championship. By the way, speaking of anniversaries, this is the anniversary of Texas winning their first national championship under Darrell Royal. 1963, the Texas Longhorns went to the Cotton Bowl, defeated Navy, some guy named Roger Staubach, and won the national championship. In honor of that championship season, the Texas Longhorns decided to put their numbers on top of their helmets. You'll see the Longhorn, and above that Longhorn, you'll see their jersey numbers. And there was some comments from people in the media, people I know, who said it sucked. And I'm thinking, no, I think it's great. And I actually have, I'll post this on my website, I actually have a pennant from the 1963 championship, as well as 1969. I didn't get one from 70 because I never really considered that to be a championship. They shared it. They shared it. They shared it with the Cornhuskers. But I have one from 2005. So I have 3 pennants, all national championships for the Texas Longhorns. And those of you that know me know that I'm a Longhorn fan, so there you go. But I think it's neat that they're wearing the helmets and they have the numbers on top of it. So some people don't like it. I like it. Personally, I think it's classy. Trying to see if there's anything else. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about. So next week, let's talk about next week. Week 2 of week 2 of high school football. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about week 2 of college football. We'll talk about week 1 of the National Football League, as well as bringing Cory Procter on and talk about his show. That'll be happening in later in the week on the 12th of September. Out at the Lone Star Sports Grill and Sports Cafe. So we, again, invite you to be there with that as well. Man, oh man, alive. It is truly the fastest hour in radio because it goes so quickly. And we just don't, I try to cram everything in as fast as I can. And we try to do it as fast as we can. But in the meanwhile, we're going to put this one away. We're going to put it in the history books. So we appreciate you logging on and tuning in and being a part of it. As always, without you, there is no us. Thank you, Chris Arnold. But in the meanwhile, we want to remind you to log on next Tuesday for more of the Dave Michael Sports Show. And then come on out and be a part of Silver Flash and Blue Thunder with Cory Procter and myself out in Richardson, Arapahoe, and Plano Road. The Lone Star Grill and Sports Cafe. I'm going to get it right one of these days. I swear I will. In any case, we want you to be a part of it. For all of us, thank you for joining us. I'm Dave Michaels. Put it in the history books. So long for now.